Good morning, doctor. Welcome back.
Good morning, Venkatesh. Nice to have you again.
Great. After our Diwali break, we restart again.
Yes.
Awesome. So our topic for today is calm under pressure. And the reason we have chosen this topic is quite obvious. Anything to do with wellness is about managing our stress. All of us face day-to-day pressures in our life, big and small. And unless we are able to manage that stress and remain calm, we quite often aren't productive, right? And we are not able to do a lot of things that we ought to do for our wellness. Yeah. So that's why this topic.
Right.
Over to you, Doc.
Hello.
Over to you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Oh, good. Well, this word stress is one of the most abused words in the English language, or in any language for that matter.
Right.
So everybody is having a stress. There is nobody without a stress. You get into any office and ask anybody there who gives you maximum stress. It says the managing director gives me maximum stress. Yeah. Go home and then ask somebody at home, brother,
Right.
sister, father-in-law, whatever, who gives you stress? The fellow will say, my wife gives me stress, my husband gives me stress, etc., etc. Now you ask anybody, and somebody else, some other person other than herself or himself is under stress.
Correct.
In fact, that stress is universal.
Correct.
Stress is universal because, say, for example, somebody says, my wife is giving me stress.
Correct.
Or the boss is giving me stress.
Right.
Actually, what he or she is saying is, stress is not what is happening to you. Stress is what is your reaction to whatever is happening to you.
Absolutely.
Okay?
Correct.
Stress is a reaction.
Yeah.
Stress is easily passed on to somebody whom you don't like.
Correct.
You don't like brother-in-law, sister-in-law, father-in-law, neighbor, liftman, whatever.
Correct.
But the thing is, the reaction of the individual to whatever is happening to you. Stress is a reaction. In one word, stress is a reaction and
Perfect.
not by itself.
Yeah. No,
So
very well put, doctor. Yeah, very well put. Yeah.
The credit should go to endocrinologists of adrenal cortex. He will tell you what. So,
which is
stress,
exactly what we are about to talk about.
Yeah. So stress is a reaction.
Yeah.
So what kind of a reaction is that?
Right.
You know that everybody has to have a reaction and there is no escape from reaction.
Correct.
Who is complaining that his boss is giving him stress.
Correct.
Okay, he took stress from the boss, and that fellow will not know what to do.
Correct.
He used to living under pressure one way or the other.
Correct.
And for example, if somebody took you to an island resort,
right,
big one, 5-star island resort,
right,
and there's nobody there, there is a stress. You have put me in a place where is nobody to talk to, nothing,
correct. So then there is nobody to give you stress. It's your reaction to the situation.
Yeah, exactly. So
now I think you said I think before you even go into this diagram, you said something very important. There is no escaping reactions. So I was remembering something from school. In school, they used to say, what is the test of a living being? A living being reacts to stimulus. This used to be a very, in our old days in middle school, how do you differentiate between living and unliving, non-living? Living being reacts to external stimulus. So that goes with being a living being, looks like.
Right. Very true.
Yeah.
So you are reacting. Something is acting on you and you are reacting to that.
Correct.
So what exactly happens in this circuitry?
Correct.
The circuitry is that you got two arms of the stress mechanism.
Right.
Stress, for example, there is an emotion, excuse me. Stress goes through a sensory thalamus, the part of the brain called thalamus, sensory thalamus. And that stimulates a reaction.
Right.
And that reaction can go through two ways or two routes of whatever.
Right.
And that from sensory thalamus, the trick lies in getting the right road along. For example,
Correct.
in this diagram, you see, your sensory cortex gives you a reaction through a hippocampus and so forth.
Correct.
And your motor cortex, or the arm of the triangle or whatever,
Right.
is you react through what route? Now, there are two routes available to the body.
Right.
One is a long route, another is a short route.
Correct.
And in stress, we are more concerned with the short route. Why is it?
Correct.
Why is it that short route should be concerning us more? That is because it is easy to jump across. You can easy to short circuit the whole thing and the reaction
Correct.
from sensory stimulus to sensory cortex, and then out immediately to a structure called amygdala. Now, amygdala is a bit of a tongue twister or a mind twister. People still have not understood how amygdala functions, but they say amygdala.
Right.
Now, this amygdala reacts very quickly,
Right.
and it beats the sensory cortex hollow.
Correct.
The sensory cortex takes time to react.
Correct.
Now, there is a structure called hippocampus. We need not go into the details,
Correct.
but from sensory cortex, if you go jump to amygdala, you get what is called as amygdala hijack. Now, every
Right.
moment of our existence, our amygdala is hijacking us.
Right.
We don't know that. And we hijack and then we justify the hijack, although the hijack is not good,
Correct.
etc. Now, the
No, this is
long
very.
cortex.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I
Yeah,
just.
but I did not.
No, I wanted you to explain the difference between the two routes. Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah. I'm coming to that. Now, both the routes are available and both the routes are operational. Yeah.
Right.
It's not that the route is completely out of action.
Correct.
Now, emotional stimulus or some sensory stimulus, sensory input that the
Right.
body puts through, it can take to the sensory cortex, which is a slower moving thing. It's more rational. It is wondering, why is this happening? Who is doing it? For what?
Correct.
The cortex keeps asking questions for better understanding, and that
Right.
takes time.
Correct.
The cortex takes time to react. I'll see.
Correct.
There was a Prime Minister of India by name Kamaraj. Yeah. And
Prime Minister is Narasimha Rao, I think you're talking about. And
no,
Kamraj was
Kamaraj is
Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu.
Tamil Nadu, yeah.
Sorry.
And he was the whole and sole authority in the pre-independence, whatever, reaction.
In that.
Now, here, Kamaraj is relevant because he characteristically would say, anybody asks him anything or tells him anything, he will say, Atum Paklam. Atum Paklam means, I will see, let me see. No, he'll never take any action. So you'll look at the other guy and say, hey, okay, let me see.
Right.
Now, sensory cortex does that. The sensory cortex doesn't react immediately.
It's gathering more information and processing the larger context. Super.
Yeah. And it takes time for the reaction to happen.
Right.
And so Kamaraj sitting there.
Correct.
And further down there, you've got other sort of so-called rational executives, but they end up giving irrational inputs and outputs.
Correct.
So not all Kamaraj is useful or good, but it is good. It is required.
Right.
It's required that somebody puts on the brake.
Correct.
And that brake will give you enough time to think.
Correct.
And the standard formula for managing stress is counting through 1 through 10.
Which we will come to. Correct.
We have got another slide further down the line.
Correct.
So
just to summarize what I thought I should just summarize for the lay person what you're saying before we move on, that there can be two responses. One, which is the short circuit, which you're calling the amygdala hijack, which is an emotional fast response. So it doesn't want more information. It's not doing any more thinking. It's just responding quickly. But that response is emotional. Whereas you want a thoughtful response, what you're calling the Kamraj, that basically cannot respond without a little more information. It is a little more information, assimilating things. So that's why we call it the high road. It is slower, but it is more thoughtful. Is that a fair summary of what you said?
Absolutely.
Perfect. So, and what we don't want in stress is to allow the amygdala to hijack. The amygdala is important, so you don't only sleep on things. But even the high road does come finally through the amygdala, as we can see in the diagram. but it can't be a
Right.
short circuit. I think a short circuit example is super, right? It should not jump
Yeah.
like a short circuit, straight to amygdala.
Yeah. So there is
That's
a
what I'm.
haste makes waste.
Yeah.
Haste makes waste. No,
Uh,
amygdala
and the
says, if I-
and and the amygdala response, because it is hasty, is mostly emotional, because
right,
it doesn't have the a larger picture which the cortex has.
right.
Super,
Yeah.
doctor.
Next,
Super.
next slide, please. Now here is
Yeah.
another diagram,
Right.
which tells you what the amygdala does and will not do, and how the cerebral cortex will do and will not do.
Correct.
Now here you see that part of the brain, which is the higher cortex, just we saw just now what it is,
Right.
and the amygdala is acting in its own style and in its own undesirable haste. But
Correct.
the higher cortex
Correct.
hmm, gets, you know what, like in our computer language, higher cortex is disabled. When you are highly emotional, you
Right.
throw tantrum, you beat up people, and you break this, that, you do road rage,
Correct.
kill somebody
Correct.
because he is not fast enough and so forth. So what is happening there? The higher cortex, higher level of cortex is disabled.
Correct.
Now, computer,
Disconnected. You literally disconnected. Correct.
absolutely,
Correct.
they put non-functional,
Correct.
and high emotion is that
Correct.
amygdala is disabled, and your actions are irrational,
Rather,
and
amygdala is in charge. Cortex is disabled.
right. Hello,
Yeah. Yeah. Please go ahead. Please go ahead. You said it
hello,
by
yeah.
mistake. Reverse. I think you said it by mistake. Reverse. That's why I was correcting it. Yeah.
Well, a high emotion will put the cortex out of action. No, that's
Perfect.
what.
Perfect. Yeah. Yeah. No, your words by mistake. No, go ahead. Please go ahead. Carry on.
Okay, yeah, right. So you got, for example, within brackets, you got anger, fear, excitement, love, hate, disgust, frustration, and so forth. All these are high emotions,
Correct.
and there you disable your cortex
Correct.
and act in a very quick way, anti-comrade way, and create trouble.
Correct.
Whereas if you have got a low emotional quotient or context, you are
Correct.
calm and you are relaxed and you are going to take time. But then somebody is in a hurry,
Correct.
like the sales manager who sets a target of say 5 million units
Correct.
to be executed in 5 million seconds. So that kind of that kind of so low emotion and high emotion, and both are
Right.
operational.
Correct.
Then somebody may ask, why is it that we are not putting everything through low emotion so that we can avoid, high emotion things like excitement, love, and so forth? But it
Correct.
is required.
Correct.
The immediate powerful emotion is required. Otherwise, the world is it will be full of mechanical people,
Correct.
and
It'll be too
nobody will
static.
act.
Yeah, they'll always be
Yeah,
waiting for further information also. Correct. Which
yeah.
you cannot, right? Sometimes you just have to act with whatever you have. Perfect.
Right, right.
Beautiful. Between
Next
these
slide.
two slides, I think a lot has become clearer, right? One of the first things is to see to it that all our responses go through the higher route
Right,
before we react, and only then engage
right,
the emotions. Perfect.
right. Now, there is in order to handle the stress, hmm,
Yeah.
you have to act in a way that it is rational and slow, it doesn't matter.
Correct.
And that puts you through, in Bhagavad Gita's terms, yoga. No, that is yoga. Yoga is yogam or yoga.
Correct.
And if you are in that zone, yoga zone, Hmm?
Yeah.
Sangam Tyaktva means you remove attachments and so forth, and then you make the clear the path for uh, well understood and sort of designed manner.
Correct.
And this Bhagavad Gita goes on like this: Yogastaha Kuru Karmani. Now,
Right.
Karmani Yogastaha Kuru. Yogastaha means station yourself in yoga.
Right.
Yoga mode, you have to station yourself.
Correct.
Yogastaha tu karmani. All your karma should be on that.
Right.
Sangam tyaktva. You act without any attachment. That is a little higher level of Bhagavad Gita,
Correct.
but it is practicable in our day-to-day life.
Correct.
Then the next one is siddhya asiddhya. Siddhya samo bhutva.
Right.
Sama is equal.
Right.
And you put yourself in that siddhi mode or asiddhi mode. For a guy who is in a yogic mode, they
Correct.
both are same.
Correct.
Siddhya samo bhutva. And
Right.
therefore, And therefore, samatvam yoga uchyate. That's our motto, no?
Yeah,
It's equilibrium, and
correct,
so forth. It be as our motto for our operation, our hypotheses.
correct.
So,
No, this is a very good way to connect the first two, the previous two slides on biology. Now it sort of all comes together. That
right,
taking the high road requires you to be detached. If you're too
right,
attached, amygdala is in play right away because
right,
emotions of
correct,
attachment are going to like take everything over. Whereas
correct,
you need to have enough poise or equipoise for the high road to catch up. And that is
right,
practice. It requires practice. Otherwise, it won't happen. And that is the yoga in a manner, right? Not the physical
correct, correct,
yoga as so much the mental yoga. Super, super.
right, right. So ultimately, for stress management, we have to turn back to the good old uncle, uh, Bhagavad
Krishna.
Gita. Bhagavad
Krishna and Bhagavad Gita are the
Krishna,
are,
Krishna
are
are
the high
the,
road. Correct.
yeah. So there is a verse in Bhagavad Gita, Karmanyeva adhikarasti. Somebody will say, how can I act without any attachment?
Ah,
So then Krishna, Lord Krishna clarifies further. You act. You have to act.
correct,
Now, don't say you cannot act.
correct,
Karmanyeva adhikara. Adhikara is your control, your power. It is
correct,
only in karma. You can only do your karma well,
correct, correct.
and you cannot really worry about ma phaleshu kadachana. You cannot keep on worrying about phala.
Phala
Now,
or fruit.
examples for such things are there, dime a dozen literally.
Right.
And people, this karmanyevadhikarasti, ma phaleshu kadachana, left, right, and center.
Must be the
And
most quoted verse. Yeah, it is the most quoted
yeah,
verse, I think, of Bhagavad Gita.
they
Yeah,
are most quoted and they are most relevant
correct,
because somebody is saying, what should I do about high road and low road and all that stuff?
correct.
You say, hey, forget about everything, stay focused on action, which is Venkatesh's favorite action, action,
your
action.
favorite, your favorite statement I have taken over. That's all. No, so
Yes.
this is a very good point again. Now, if I connect the last four slides,
Hmm.
amygdala, like you were saying, it's not like you cannot, you can dispense with, the role of the amygdala. The amygdala is sort of what helps you to act. But if you
Yeah.
can practice acting without the amygdala taking over, that is what this is about, right? That you don't become
Right.
addicted to the amygdala is the way to put you into action. You can act without the amygdala is the big
Right.
part of this yoga business. Perfect.
Right. Right. So, calmness is the cradle of power. Now, if you see somebody is saying calmness is the cradle of power,
Right.
only calm will mean power. If you are
Right.
not calm, you are not you have lost control. You have lost power. So
Correct.
calmness is the cradle of power.
Correct.
The calmness is where the whole exercising emanates.
Correct.
And that is a cradle of power. That gives you immense power. You can ask any high achievers like Pete Sampras or Rod Laver or Sachin Tendulkar or
Roger
Virat
Federer.
Kohli.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they have a source of power.
Correct.
And what is that source of power? It is a philosophy, of course. We
Correct.
need not get into the philosophy part of
Yeah.
it.
But it is this.
Karma is itself philosophy, The karma
Correct.
yoga was designed and delivered, and that itself is yoga.
Correct.
You and I are sitting here and discussing something, and we are not worried about the impact or the relevance or something beyond that. You say
Correct.
it doesn't matter. You do
Correct.
karma, and that is more than enough for the whole universe for you. Yeah,
Correct.
karma is universe, karma is yoga, and
Correct.
so forth. So this is converting theory into practice,
Correct.
and without questioning too much or without agonizing. And about talking of agonizing, there are various aspects of agonizing. You can see, we can even run a course seminar on that
On
agonizing.
agonizing. Yeah. No,
All
a
of us
very
agonize.
correct. Very relevant point before we move on, because what you said by way of examples, right? The tennis example. Federer,
Yeah,
we were discussing on our walk the other day. Federer was
right,
explaining that the top players, they may win 80% of the matches, but they win only 50% of points. And
right,
what does that mean? You have to be prepared that every other point you will win or lose, forget about that point and keep moving forward, right? And you can
right,
only do
right,
that in this, you're basically detached from the point. The moment the point is over, you need to move to the next point and keep on acting. So
Right.
stated in different words, but there's no way to play tennis at that level unless you can detach yourself from the result of the previous point.
Right. Very true. So, the basic requirement or demand of any action or that whatever we undertake, it depends on what we call as adrenaline rush.
Right.
Adrenaline is chemical or a hormone which
Correct.
goes through your system, and during a stressful moment, it rushes to your brain and muscle and everything. So that rush, the whole body rush
Correct.
of adrenaline, is the funda of stress.
Correct.
Although it is required. Now, just to repeat what we said a little earlier,
Correct.
it's required. Adrenaline is
Correct.
required.
Right.
Yeah, etc. And that rush has to happen, yes. The job lies in controlling the rush and channelizing
Yes.
it,
Yeah.
making it more relevant to the situation. For example,
Perfect.
if somebody is committing a murder in the name of road rage,
Correct.
rage is fine because the other was blocking the road. You got angry.
Right.
But then you don't let that thing overtake
Rage
you
take
and
you. Yeah.
yeah,
Rage
like that.
overtake you and completely derail your entire life and bigger goals, your responsibilities, everything gone for a toss because someone overtook you.
Right. Next slide, please.
Yeah.
So we saw the adrenaline rush in an acute situation. Acute in the sense, in a very short, uh, burstful situation.
Correct.
Somebody's in the car and blocking your car, and you get excited, shout, and you whatever do everything that is
Correct.
totally stupid,
Correct.
and that is acute. Acute
Correct.
medically acute means acute doesn't mean severe.
Correct.
Acute means happening
Not spike.
immediate, suddenly,
Correct. Correct.
suddenly.
Correct.
So our brain is always, almost constantly under the effect of stress, which is particularly uh, the hormone that we talked about. But
Correct.
mind you, adrenaline rush cannot be sustained by itself.
Correct.
Let me repeat. If adrenaline rush is good and if stress is there, fine, let the brain take on adrenaline and we can live the rest of the life
Always on
in a heart.
adrenaline. Yeah.
It doesn't happen like that. Because the moment the stress becomes chronic,
Correct.
adrenaline hands over the charge to another chemical called cortisol, which we will see.
Correct.
So the immediate rush of adrenaline is in the stress, the acute stress, very severe but high spurt kind of a stress.
Correct.
So, but in the chronic situation, the chemistry changes.
Right.
Chronic means it is something acting
Continuous.
on
Yeah.
for
Continuous
a
low
long time.
simmer. Yeah.
Yeah. And there the adrenaline withdraws and asks another hormone called cortisol and to run the show. But cortisol again is a very tricky customer.
Correct.
It will start processes which you don't know how to control. Like for example, high blood pressure. The
Correct.
simple example of high blood pressure.
Correct.
All of us, you and me and everybody on this planet or even beyond, are chronically under stress. There is not a single being who is not under chronic stress.
Correct.
Hmm? Acute stress can come and go in a spurt or spike.
Correct.
Chronic stress doesn't do that. It
Correct.
is quietly eating away your resources, what
Correct.
resources, whatever psychology, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So you are
Absolutely.
under chronic stress has to be understood in different terms because adrenaline will have an action only in the near vicinity of the
What
event.
it's up to. Correct.
Whereas in chronic stress, you can get the action at any level. It can be action at the lowest and smallest toe in your foot,
Correct.
etc. Whereas
Very
adrenaline will do its job. Yeah.
Yeah, very important point, doctor, because this connects the dots to so many other things that we have talked about. This cortisol, if you are addicted to that low route, as it were, right, all the time
Yeah.
under stress and using that, if this cortisol is all over, that cortisol is responsible for hypertension, type 2 diabetes, obesity. All of this is coming from an excess of cortisol, right? And excess of
Correct.
cortisol is excess of cortisol is because it's all the time being required or you require it to act, and that is why yoga is basically that you are not dependent on that to act, right? You keep acting but you
Correct.
act calmly with your cortex. Super.
Correct. Very true. Now, this, how are we time-wise, Venkatesh? How many
I
minutes do
think,
you
yeah,
have?
we'll need to slightly speed up, but I think we are okay. We should be fine.
Okay. Right. Now this response to stress, if it is acute, there is ABCD, as you can see in this diagram. If it is chronic, it is cortisol, as we just described. So this stress response, acute and chronic, many times it's a combination of both,
Correct.
You got acute and chronic. And then you got the algebraic sum of acute and chronic stress, which gives you the problems of life.
Correct.
Like divorcing your wife is an acute and chronic mix, like that.
Or the road, or the road rage itself is happening because you suddenly everything you have lost control. There's been simmering
Right,
stress, but then one spike sort of becomes the last straw on the camel's back.
right. Very true.
Yeah, this
Next slide.
diagram beautifully shows that cortisol basically is even physically the low end, as it were. Yeah, basically the cortisol keeps on pushing you in that direction. Yeah.
Right. So here is yoga, as Venkatesh just now described. And yoga is an excellent mode or methodology, if you like,
Correct.
of
Correct.
controlling your mind, body, and even soul. Now, if you control your mind and body,
Correct.
your soul gets automatically controlled in a better manner. Now, you cannot eliminate a reaction.
Correct.
Soul reaction, for example, is much more complex than either adrenaline or noradrenaline or whatever.
Correct.
But this is a very complex mix of things which your brain and your brawn have to coordinate to control you. And that
Correct.
is yoga.
Correct.
What does yoga do? It achieves a unique blend of or a combination of factors
Correct.
which are ranging from the very acute spike down to a very chronic, extended way of reacting to your stress and so forth.
Correct.
Next slide, please.
Yeah.
How many more slides do we have, Venkatesh? Yeah.
3 more. 3 more. We should be fine.
Okay. Yeah, right. So, is stress good or bad? That's a question. Because, for example, as we saw just now, somebody takes you and puts you in an island, and there's no way of anything
Technically,
acting
no
on you.
stress, but it is stress.
So this is where modern psychologists are talking about response vis-a-vis reaction. Now, medical science does not encourage this kind of a response versus reaction. It is purely a marketing device of how you behave in a complex situation like in an office
Correct.
or a crowded place and so forth. You decide to respond or you decide to react, etc., etc. But that is not strictly the case in biology.
Right.
But again, as we saw, it's a mix of both.
Correct.
You can't say I will only respond, I won't act. You can't say I will only act, I won't respond. It is a mix. And that mix does very well if you know how to, if you learn the trick of the trade,
Correct.
as they some say, you react and you respond. If somebody asks you to explain, you'll say, okay, hold a seminar, I will tell you.
Yeah. No, I think what you have very well articulated thus far is the fact that it's not like the low road is not there. It has its role. Adrenaline has its role. Cortisol has its role. But you can't get into addiction in a manner that that's the only way you work, right? And yoga is basically about controlling all of this.
Right. And controlling in a tripartite way. Body,
Correct.
mind, and body you control.
Yeah.
If you want to do Srinivasan, your body will do it for you.
Correct.
And
no, and in fact,
mind.
this actually merits another session. But the whole point that, some people think yoga is all about the mind. But for the layman, yoga is all about the body. But they are connected.
Yeah.
You first manage to calm your body, and then you can calm your mind and take the high road. Is one of the, is the way that yoga is supposed to be. Absolutely.
Right. Controlling body, mind, and soul. Yes. Control the whole of you.
Correct.
And if you don't do it, you have got the characteristic symptoms and signs of things going wrong with your body, mind, and soul. What do that? Chronic, very long-acting situation leads to depression and anxiety.
Correct.
Depression, where you are very unhappy with this existing situation, and anxiety is your emotional reaction to whatever you cannot do, and therefore you feel frustrated. So it is depression and anxiety.
Correct.
And this combination leads to stress.
Correct.
Now, as we saw, these combinations will keep coming again and again. There are, at any given moment, there are thousands of seminars and workshops going on. Correct. Where they will charge you a bond. But then It is there, and you have to learn to manage. You have to
Correct.
learn.
It
You thought
boils
earlier,
down to this. Yeah, it boils
yeah,
down to managing. And in fact, that is where the whole role of the Bhagavad Gita and that philosophy, that
right,
the only real way is to detach yourself from the immediate emotions or attached to things, is the only way you disconnect from that adrenaline cycle or that cortisol cycle.
right. So here you have got balance is the essence, no? We say Satyameva Jaya. Okay?
Samatva yoga uchyate.
Yeah, I got it. I was trying to read what is it letter.
Yeah, no problem.
So you stay balanced.
Correct.
Samatvam yoga uchyate. Now,
Correct.
Samatvam at every level. At this very moment, you got a Samatvam challenge. Samatvam is a challenge, you know. It
Correct.
doesn't happen automatically. It doesn't land on your lap.
All
But
right.
you do balancing act is yours.
Correct.
God has given you the balance and you make it work for you and
Correct.
so forth. Yeah.
No, and you have
So,
to, unless you practice using, I'm using your slide and your favorite analogy, the muscle in a manner, the metaphorical muscle of using the high road, the more you
right,
use it, the more it is capable of coming into play. Otherwise,
right,
the powerful one is always only the low road. So you have to
right,
focus on this calm for your high road to act. And that is what this
right.
balance is about. Being
Yeah,
thoughtful, being, detached. Yeah.
right. Practice
Which
your
takes us to the
balance.
old. Yeah, this is the final slide.
This is right. Now, just to go back to the very simplistic way of countering stress.
Correct.
It could be anything, whether it is Jesus Christ carrying the cross to the gallery or something. What is it?
Yeah, to the hill. Yeah.
Or you're facing an examination, you're facing a test or something.
Correct.
Across the board, hmm, this formula will work.
Correct.
Now, I don't ask how Jesus Christ would manage by counting up to 10,
Correct.
but he must have had his own way of dealing with
Yeah, he had
the
actually the whole thing was that he was able to do it at a higher level by detaching himself from his body and physically saying that, look, I'm
Correct,
operating at a higher level. The high road was truly the high road for him. Yeah. Sorry.
correct. So just a figurative way of looking at counting up to 10,
Correct.
and that can be applied anywhere.
Correct.
We are not all the time the high philosophical level. This is part of Karma Yoga, no?
Correct.
If you are counting up to 10 before acting, or if you are like Kamaraj, you say Agatam Baklam, you
Correct.
know. You are putting the formula of 10, hmm?
Correct.
Not the 10 of a board record somebody, it's a formula of counting.
Correct.
And
And
borrowing time, buying time, making
for
a
your
high
high road
road.
to take over. For the high road to
Yeah,
take over.
yeah. And you should have the courage to say, okay, amygdala, so far and no farther,
Correct.
and the rest of the thing will be run by cerebral cortex and
Correct.
so forth. So there are many such examples. There are many seminars and workshops, but nobody has the final answer to any of this. If somebody asked you, ultimately, what will the doctor do? He will prescribe you an anti-anxiety drug.
Correct.
His job ends there, and he collects his fees and goes home, or he makes you go home. So, so this is the
Perfect.
situation which you learn unlearn. You have to learn to unlearn. Not depend only on tablets, not depend only on
The low road.
external props.
Yeah.
That's all.
And basically using your using your emotions to move and to act is fraught, because it is going to make you continuously stay in that chronic stress zone. And
Right.
that is exactly like the military has understood across time. Everybody can't stay in that red alert. That red alert
Right.
stage is a quick acute thing. But if you try to keep red alert on all the time,
It
uh,
won't work.
it won't work. It will break down. In fact, you will be the reverse of alert. You will be anxious, depressed,
Right.
unable to move. So,
True.
um,
True.
perfect, doctor. So, I'll summarize since this is the last slide then.
Yes. Your job.
Yeah. Lovely talk, doctor. We looked at how stress operates, and basically that, stress is actually nothing but our response to any stimulus. And we looked
Right.
at the fact that there are two ways we can respond. One, which is the sort of more automatic, fast, short circuit, which is a quick, fast response, primarily emotional, which goes through a place called the amygdala in our brain. And that one tends to be high emotion. On the other hand, there is a slower, more thoughtful response that can happen through what we call the cortex. And that
Right.
one, however, is slower, and it'll ask for more information. It'll take time to process. A lot of our situations in our life today are not where a predator is chasing us down the road, right? We need to be thoughtful. We need to stop. To the road rage example doctor used, the response there needs to be a thoughtful one. You need to give your brain the time to transfer control from the amygdala to the cortex. To do that, you need practice and you need detachment. And that's where we talked about the connection to yoga. That yoga, as the whole Gita is really about the yoga, saying the only way to detach from emotion is to detach from outcomes. Only then you have a chance of actually being able to tell the amygdala, please wait, let the cortex process. I'll come back to you. And that requires practice. You start with the body, like you said, and then you're able to do that with the mind and the soul. That is what all of this is about. This is why it physically then helps to keep the cortisol, which is otherwise, if you're in continuous stress mode, cortisol will dominate. Cortisol will ruin your health at a very physical level, not to mention mental. Yes, doctor?
Right, very true, absolutely, and well summarized.
Thank you, doctor.
And
Lovely. Love the talk.
yeah.
Thank you so much.
Good.
Look forward to the next one. Take care. Happy Diwali again. Take care.
Thank you. Take care. God bless.